Om Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garuda Om Shanno Mitra Shambharaha Shanno Bharatvarjana Shanno Indro Brihaspati Shanno Vishwaramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayu Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmati Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Bhavishyami Ratam Bhavishyami Satyam Bhavishyami Tanmabhavato Tadbhaktaram Avadunam Avadu Bhaktaram Om Sahana Sahano Bhunakto Sahavijam Karavavahai Etasminavahai Tamasvami Shavahai Om Shanti
Thank you very much, Ramesh. Welcome, everybody. We are nothing if not adaptable. Look at us, all in this beautiful service and these beautiful faces through technology. Thank you very much for joining us. This is an extraordinarily special occasion for me, but for you and the temple, and you'll find out in a minute why. I'll introduce the minister in a moment, but I just want to say a couple of quick words. You know, you can never feel at home anywhere if you don't have acceptance. You know, if you're not accepted for the faith that you believe in and practice, for the culture that you want to live, and for the mother tongue you want to speak, you'll never really truly be belonging to any country, any place. And I believe strongly, and this government believes strongly, that acceptance of difference is really important to being Victorian and being Australian. It is one of the key elements of belonging somewhere, to be accepted. You know, you can be Indian and Australian at the same time. You don't need to choose. You can be Hindu and Australian at the same time. You don't need to choose. This is what this country was built on. Beautiful difference that we embrace. We don't just embrace it, we celebrate it. You know, we don't divide people on difference. We take people in as a whole community and celebrate that difference because we are so enriched by it. I mean, who wouldn't be enriched by the Hindu culture and the faith that you practice? Thousands of years old, has a lot to teach human history and the current civilization, including Australia. We should be extraordinarily proud that some of you were born here, but the ones who weren't chose this country and this state to make your home because we benefit from that. Yes. And as part of that acceptance and belonging that this government, the Andrews Labor government, believes in, you have to make it happen somehow. So you make it happen through supporting communities who practice their culture, their language, and their faith. And part of that is having a home. And I'm really, really chuffed. I'm really proud that one of the homes you have is the one that you've chosen in the electorate that I have the pleasure of representing in the Parliament of Victoria, the electorate of Oakleigh, and you've chosen to have a place in Poets Road in Murrumbina. And that makes me proud. And I've only been there, I think, 2 or 3 times, so I'm really sorry I haven't been there recently. But COVID has put a bit of a block on that. But when I have come, you've always made me feel extraordinarily welcome. I feel like a long lost relative. And I really, really appreciate your warmth and your generosity. So I wanted to say that we have, you talked to me back then when I came about some of the remodelling plans. And I think at that point you were renting or had the facility courtesy of a benefactor in the community.
Yes, correct.
And now you've taken it over, you've bought the facility and you want to make it better for the purposes of your community and the broader community.
That's right.
And I have enormous pleasure for 2 reasons. One is because she has a very good announcement for you and for us. But the second pleasure is because she's a good friend of mine. I have a real pleasure of introducing Victoria's Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Ros Spence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Before we begin, could I just please acknowledge the traditional owners of the many lands on which we're meeting today. For me, that is the Gunum Willumbullock of the Wurundjeri people, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And can I also thank all of you for coming together at what was no doubt short notice. It's terrific to see so many faces. It would be even better to see you all in person, but unfortunately that's not something we can do at the moment. But nonetheless, I'm very pleased that we have been able to come together today. And it really does give me great pleasure to join with my parliamentary colleague and my dear friend Steve Dimopoulos, a terrific advocate and champion for his local community, for today's special announcement. I'm really pleased that we are joined by so many devotees and representatives from the Sri Ventaka Krishna Brundavana temple, including priests Mr. Natith Achara, I hope I got that right, I'm sorry, and Mr. Vishwanatha Bhatt. It's a pleasure to be here today to deliver some really special news at a time when I think we all need to hear some special news. As you might know, Victoria is proudly home to the largest Indian population in Australia, and our government recognises the invaluable social, economic and cultural contributions of this around 170,000 strong community. And we're so proud to support Victoria's Indian community to celebrate, preserve and share their culture and traditions. And the Indian Community Infrastructure Fund is an Andrews Labor government grant program that does just that. The fund helps community groups across Victoria to construct, maintain and upgrade their community facilities to ensure that multicultural communities can continue to congregate, to celebrate and to practice their culture when it's safe to do so. And we know that this helps to build a stronger and fairer Victoria. So I'm really happy to announce that the Sri Krishna Brundavana has been identified as an important organisation that is well placed to support Victoria's Indian community and is therefore a very, very worthy recipient of a grant from the Victorian Government's Indian Community Infrastructure Fund, and your organisation will be receiving $440,000 towards the total estimated project cost of $450,000 to enable you to continue to provide a quality space for Victorians' Indian community to come together and celebrate their ancestry, their culture and their faith. And I understand that by developing and improving your facilities, you'll be able to continue supporting not only your community through celebrations like the Srinivasa, now let me get this right, I'm determined to get this celebration right. It's the Srinivasa Kayana, is that it? Few thumbs up, so I must be close. But also you can continue to advocate for inclusion and cross-cultural initiatives, and we know that that's really important. So congratulations to you for undertaking such an important project that will have positive outcomes for the community for many, many years to come. And I'd also like to acknowledge Steve Dimopoulos for his advocacy for this project and all of the work that he does standing up for communities across the Oakleigh electorate. On behalf of the Victorian Government, I want to thank you once again for the support that you all do on behalf of your communities. I look forward to visiting the upgraded temple when it's safe to do so in the future. thank you again for coming together at such short notice for this special announcement, and all the very best and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Ros. I'm a bit speechless. I'm very chuffed with that announcement. I saw, as Ros said, I wish we were in the same room because I think we'd be louder and noisier with that announcement. But I just say thank you very much to Ros. You know, yes, I have spoken to Ros many times about your temple, and I've spoken to Ros about my community needs. But you know, you have to have a minister, frankly, who's interested and engaged and understands. I know she looks white and she's got a name like Ros Spence, but she understands ethnic communities. She's married an ethnic, and she's got an electorate where she's in the northern suburbs, which is full of diversity and a beautiful community, including Indian communities. So Ros understands the needs extraordinarily well. So thank you very much, Ros. I also wanted, before I hand over to Ramesh, to say, you know, I always thought I knew what volunteering looked like growing up, being born and growing up in Australia, but it does not compare to what I've seen in terms of volunteering in the Indian and Hindu community. It's extraordinary. Like, you provide meals, you provide social support and service, you provide a lot of financial support yourselves. You all pull together to provide that support to your community and to your temple. So the government's commitment is really only on the back of all the hard work you have done as a leadership team, Ramesh and the committee, but all of you as devotees. So on that note, I want to thank you very much for your advocacy and your work that got us to come to the party too. It was you that started this investment. So thanks very much, Ramesh. Over to you.
Thank you, Steve Dimopoulos, the member for Oakleigh. With the blessings of Sri Hari, Vayu, Gurugalu and His Holiness, Sugunendra Theertha Swamiji, we have witnessed a very special moment in the history of SVKB Melbourne today. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and ongoing custodians of the land we are meeting today, the Wurundjeri people, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I thank the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Honourable Ros Spence MP, and the Parliamentary Secretary, to the Premier and the Member for Oakleigh, Mr. Steve Dimopoulos, on behalf of all the community representatives for inviting us to be part of such an esteemed occasion and announcing the grant. I would like to congratulate the Victorian government for being the first Australian state government to proactively support and engage Indian communities in the nation. In particular, the Victorian government's Indian Community Infrastructure Fund has been a welcome opportunity for organizations such as Sri Venkatakrishna Vrindavana to put forth our plans to further build social cohesion in the Indian community in Melbourne. Since our establishment, SVKB Melbourne has maintained an exceptional commitment to social service and cultural development, notably through offering free meals for all devotees, organizing numerous festivals and other cultural events every year. In January, we organized a food drive along with Food Bank of Australia for the bushfire affected communities. And most recently, we supported families affected due to the hard lockdown of public housing estates by cooking and delivering fresh vegetarian meals. This grant will significantly assist SVKB in creating a new multipurpose hall and a much needed purpose-designed upgrade to the kitchen from its existing tiny footprint, thus supporting thousands of devotees who visit our temple every year. Today's announcement by the Minister will significantly assist in efficiently managing the increased visitations to Sri Venkatakrishna Vrindavana. Based on internal forecasts, by 2023, the visitation to SVKB temple will double from the current 1,200 people per month. As we are aware, Victoria is home to Australia's largest Indian population, Victoria also has the second largest Hindu population in Australia with over 135,000 people. And SVKB is an integral hub for the Indian community in Melbourne. I would like to also take this opportunity to extend an invitation to both Minister Spence and Member for Oakleigh, Steve Dimopoulos, to be chief guests at our next biannual hallmark event, Srinivasa Kalyana, the celestial wedding of Hindu gods. The grand function conducted in February this year was graced by the presence of members of the Victorian government, including Mr. Enver Erdogan, member for Southern Metropolitan region. We acknowledge and appreciate his continuing support to SVKB. This biannual event is entirely volunteer-driven and has witnessed over the last 3 editions, at least 4,000 people from Victoria's Indian community participate at the day-long event. Once again, I thank the Victorian government, the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Honorable Ros Spence, and the Member for Oakleigh, Mr. Steve Dimopoulos, for offering the ICIF Grant to SVKB. I would like to thank Mr. Prasanna Acharya, our overseas coordinator, the staff, and my fellow volunteers of SVKB. Without their unstinted, selfless support, it would have been impossible to achieve what we have achieved in the last 5 years. With the blessings of Sri Hari Vayu Gurugalu, His Holiness, Sri Sugunendra Theertha Swamiji, and the Victorian government's generous grant, we will strive to build greater social cohesion in the community and to make SVKB the jewel in the crown of the Indian community in Victoria. Thank you and namaskara.